Hey guys, it's Adam with Carnage Comics and Cards, and I'm back at it with another Bloomburrow spoiler video. So, haven't checked out the first one, go take a look at that. And here we are looking at some new cards. This one is Blacksmith's Talent. It is a class, which means that you pay 1 to get the first level, and then for the additional levels, you have to pay additionally. So when Blacksmith's Talent enters, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Sword with equip creature, gets +1/+1 and equip 2. So I think that's the worst part of this class, but the rest of this class is really strong. You can pay 3, and then at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach target equipment you control to up to 1 target creature you control. So I'm thinking Colossal Hammer, which gives you +10/+10. So you can pay 3, and then you just get to attach that artifact to a creature. I feel this would be a really strong card in a lot of Commander artifact decks or equipment decks, where basically you can utilize this, and a lot of times equipment decks are in red, so I do see this being very valuable. And then you can pay 4, and equipped creatures you control have double strike and haste, so this is a good finisher. And so I think overall it's a pretty flexible card, and it'll fit in the 99 in a lot of decks. Moving on, we have Coiling Rebirth, and it's 3 and 2 black pips. You gift a card. What is gift? Well, gift is you may promise an opponent a gift as you cast this spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. So if you gift a card, someone else gets to draw a card. And this reads, return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then if the gift was promised and that creature isn't legendary, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1. This card is awesome. Like, I think in Commander, this is going to be very popular. You're going to get, it's non-legendary, which kind of stinks, but overall, you're going to get, I honestly, because one of my favorite cards is Railway Brawler, I just think of that card, and you're going to get a 5/5 and a 1/1, so then when you play your next card, not only are you getting double counters, double 1/1s, you're getting double. So it's a win harder card, and also Graveyard Recursion. So really good card, really excited to play this. Next up, we have Festival of Embers. And this card reads, during your turn, you may cast instants and sorcery spells from your graveyard by paying 1 life in addition to their other costs. So this is a 5-cost enchantment. If a card or token may be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. You can pay 2 and sack this. I don't understand that sack. Why would you want to sack this? But it's on there. This is there's another card called, man, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna put it right here. It's something underground, and it allows all your cards to have escape. And it's 2 mana, but it's a one-time use. And I think this is better than that. I see this as a CEDH card. I think that this is, 5 is expensive, so maybe not, but this is a really strong card to allow you to recur things one time. And really well-designed card. I really love this, and the art's sweet too, let's be honest. Okay, here we go. Now we've got For the Common Good. Create X tokens that are copies of target token you control. Then tokens you control gain indestructible until your next turn. You gain 1 life for each token you control. So this is an awesome card for token decks, and I see this going in my new Stompy tokens, or I think I renamed it Tremor tokens. So if you haven't checked out that video on Gyred, this is going in my Gyred deck. This is a great card. We're gonna, basically, yeah. With doubling season, this goes crazy. All right, next up. Wow, I love this frog. If I wasn't already building a frog commander, I would build this. Helga, Skittish Seer. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you draw a card, gain 1 life, and put a 1/1 counter on Helga. Then you can tap it, add X mana of any color, where X is Helga Skittish Seer's power. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells with mana value 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana cost. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other in Bant, what cards do you have with X? You have green, so I guess you have a lot of access to Hydras. So the Hydra that comes to mind is Gold Vein to me. So I think that's awesome. You can make a giant Gold Vein, which is then going to give you a bunch of treasures. Really interesting card. Something that Bant doesn't usually do is the 4 or greater. It's more of just a solo green thing, mono green thing. So yeah, this is a fun card. Going to be a great commander, probably pretty popular. All right, next up we have Honored Dray Leader, and for the Seed Miser, is it Seed Miser? I think so. Commander deck in Golgari, this is going to be a great card. This is also probably good in Chatterfang, but it's for 3, it's a 1/1 trample, but when it enters, you put a 1/1 counter it for each squirrel or food you control. Whenever another squirrel or food you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on Dray Leader. So basically, he gets counters when he enters for each squirrel and food, and then as they come in, he gets bigger. So, great card. Just a big beastie squirrel, and I love that art. I love that art. All right, moving on. Now we've got at the beginning of combat on your turn. This is an enchantment class. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then you can pay 1 additional. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1. And finally, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. This is going in every green deck. This is a chase card, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's too expensive. I don't know. 2, 3 plus. So I mean, it's 8 together, but you're spreading it out over 2 or 3 turns. And that ward 1, that's really good too. I just see this like Merfolk or Hackball is gonna love this card. Anything that does counters, 1/1 counters in green is gonna want this card. And super value engine. That ward 1, it seems small, but that's not insignificant. That's really good. All right. So now we have Patchwork Banner. It is you choose a creature type, and creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. Add 1 mana of any color when you tap it. So it is a mana rock that is going to buff all of your tribal cards. This is going to be a super popular card, and basically every tribal deck is going to replace Heraldic Banner with this. I think that this is just a better version of Heraldic Banner for those decks. If you're just doing a monocolor deck, Heraldic Banner is better, but this is I'm thinking my pirate deck. I'm thinking, anything where you just run mostly like 99% of one creature type. This is good, and it's a mana rock. So yeah, great card. All right, now we have all these classes. These classes are awesome. I love these classes. Scavenger's Talent. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control die, create a food token. So again, this is going to be for that Seed Miser deck, and it's going to provide even more food support. Not that we don't have enough already. This ability only triggers once each turn. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, target player mills 2 cards. So you can mill yourself, so self-mill decks. And then at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice 3 other non-land permanents. So I'm thinking foods. If you do, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So I'm thinking pirates again. So there's lots of different uses for this card, and I think it'll find its way into a lot of different decks. Okay, now we have a removal spell. It is 5, so it is 1 over curve. I'm thinking Wrath of God. However, it does have, you can gift a card. You destroy all creatures. If the gift was promised, return a creature card put into your graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. So if you want to take out everything, but you don't want to lose your commander, this allows you to bring that commander back. So if your commander has an ETB, this card is actually really good. I love this removal. I think it's an interesting removal for commander, and I think that a lot of people are going to play it. And I think there's another card called Starfall that I think this is kind of playing with. It's an X spell that does damage to all creatures, I think. Yeah, I'll put the name up here if that's true. I may be wrong on that, but anyways, this cool removal. All right, next up is a new card, Tree Guard Duo. This one was just released, and it says when it enters, until end of turn, target creature you control gains vigilance and gets X plus X, where X is the number of creatures you control. So a really good pump, one-time pump, and I see this seeing play in Standard and probably some play in Commander on a limited basis, but just a really good pump on a stick. All right, next up we have Wick the World Mind, which is going to be blue, black, red. I see this as a really strong commander if you're doing rats or you're just wanting to do a deck in blue, black, red. I find this very interesting. It is a rat warlock, and whenever Wick or another rat you control enters, create a 1/1 black snail token if you don't control a snail. Otherwise, if you do, you put a 1/1 counter on a snail you control. You can then tap for 3, sacrifice the snail, and then Wick deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to each opponent, then draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. So basically, if you don't have a snail, you create a snail. If you have a snail, when a rat comes in, you're going to make that snail bigger. And then when it gets too big and someone wants to remove it, you pay 3, you sack it, and you deal a bunch of damage to their face. Really cool card in these colors. Really fun commander to build around, and I think this will be one of the most popular rat commanders coming out of Bloomburrow, though there are a few others. So, all right, guys, that's the video today. Thanks for taking the time to check this out. If you haven't checked out my other spoiler video, go ahead and do that. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.